Long ago, in a small village, there lived a woman known as Iya Banke, the Moimoi seller. Her fame spread far and wide, not just within the village, but beyond the surrounding towns and settlements. People came from far away to buy her moimoi, which was always soft, spicy, and red, so red and delicious that some people joked it was made from magic pepper. Even the king himself was not left out. He would often send his guides to buy from Iya Banke's small wooden shed near the market square. Sometimes he invited her to the palace, praising her hands as divinely gifted. He even showered her with gifts, golden wrappers, basket of yam, and one occasion a goat. This made many people in the village jealous, but the strangest part of Iya Banke's story was this. No one ever saw her prepare the moimoi. She always arrived at the market early, freshly made wraps tied in strong leaves. Some women tried to pepper into her kitchen through holes in the wall. Others pretended to visit her at night, offering her help. Yet no one ever found out how she made her special moimoi. Then one day, two new coppers were transferred to the village. Their names were Officer Tayo and Officer Dupe. They moved into a small bungalow just a few houses away from Iya Banke's home. Officer Dupe loved moimoi. She quickly became a regular at Iya Banke's shop, eating and praising the food loudly. But Officer Tayo, on the other hand, was cautioned. From the first bite, she had a strange feeling. Something wasn't right. She watched how people praised Iya Banke blindly, how no one ever asked questions, and it reminded her of something from her past. You see, Tayo had known Iya Banke before. They once lived in the same village years ago. Back then, Iya Banke also sold moimoi, but no one liked it. It was watery and tasteless. People avoided her shop. So how did she suddenly become so popular, so rich, and so admired here? That question troubles Tayo's heart. One fateful midnight, around 3 a.m., Tayo heard movements outside. She quietly stood up and looked through the curtain. It was Iya Banke dressed in red, barefooted, and holding a calabash cover in white cloth. She walked slowly toward the edge of the bush behind her house. Tayo quickly followed her. She saw Iya Banke place the calabash on the ground. She removed the cloth. Inside was fresh blood. Tayo gasped silently. Iya Banke sat on a small wooden stool, raised her hands to the sky, and began chanting strange incantations. Her voice trembled the air. The wind grew colder. She called on strange names. She spoke to spirits, asking for sweetness, color, and control. From 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., she stayed there, speaking and pouring libations. Just as she was about to return home and head to the market, Officer Tayo stepped on a dry stick. Iya Banke had it. She froze. Then she picked the calabash and ran back to her house. Tayo rushed behind quietly, hiding in the shadows. The next morning, Iya Banke did not come out early. When she finally arrived at the market, she had moimoi, but something was wrong. It wasn't red. It wasn't sweet. It tasted flat. People started murmuring. Even the king's guide returned the wraps they bought that evening. Iya Banke sat alone in her shed, her face wet with sweat and fear. She had never received that kind of complaint before. She knew something was wrong. Someone had seen her. Indeed, Tayo was washing. She now had proof that Iya Banke was using something dark and she was determined to dig deeper. But Tayo knew she had to be careful because in the same village, people who ask too many questions sometimes went missing. Ever since the night Officer Tayo witnessed the blood ritual, Iya Banke had changed. Her confidence was shaking. She now came to the market later than usual. Her once bold greetings turned into nervous whisper. The customers who used to form long lines began to reduce. Some still came out of loyalty, but many started saying the truth they once kept quiet about. But Tayo wasn't done. She began investigating secretly. She prayed heaven, asking God to expose the hidden evil. She also informed her pastor, a well-known prophet in the village. One day, Tayo got her chance. She quietly entered Iya Banke's house and searched. Under the bed, she found what she feared most, a blood-stained calabash covered in clothes. She quickly carried it to her pastor. The prophet prayed, and God revealed the truth. The blood sacrifices, the incantations, the manipulations. The prophet said, "This woman has been using this calabash to deceive the whole village. But her time is up." The prophet and Tayo agreed. They would take the calabash to the palace at the right time. Soon after, people in the village began falling sick. At first, it was small stomach upset. But then, a young boy collapsed. After eating Iya Banke's Moimoi, a pregnant woman fainted. The king summoned Iya Banke. She cried and pleaded, "I don't know what is happening. Kabiesi, maybe it is the water I used." But inside, fear was eating her up. She tried to do her usual rituals, but it didn't work. The king declared a 3-day cleansing ceremony. All food sellers were to stop selling. Everyone must bring their cooking pots to the palace for inspection. Iya Banke refused. She made excuses. The king grew suspicious. He sent guides to search her house. They found charms, feathers, red cloths, animals' bones, and a small black pot with strange items. The villager cried in shock. Iya Banke was dragged to the palace, weak and afraid. And standing beside the king was Officer Tayo holding her Bible. Everyone talked about Iya Banke and her dark Moimoi, but God was working. Tayo, being a woman of prayer, had involved her pastor. The prophet asked the king for permission to hold a 3-day crusade. The king agreed. The market square became a place of prayer. Drums sounded. People sang. The prophet anointed the land. He prayed for God to expose all hidden evil. On the final day, the prophet and Officer Tayo carried the calabash to the palace courtyard. Villagers gathered. The kings and elders watched. The prophet declared, "This calabash has been the source of deception and sickness, but today God will deliver this land." The prophet smacked the calabash on the palace floor. Suddenly, a strange wind blew. People screamed. Leaves flew everywhere. Out of nowhere, Iya Banke appeared. She ran into the palace, rolled on the floor, screaming. "It was only chicken blood at first," she confessed. "Then goats. I only wanted them to love me." The crowd gasped. Iya Banke jumped up, ran wildly through the palace and the village, shouting, "Moment of blood, moment of spirit. You all hate it, you all loved it." The king's guide wanted to chase her, but the prophet stopped them. "Let her wander." The prophet said, "Let her," the way she carried her calabash of evil. From that day, Iya Banke was never seen again. Some say she entered the forest talking to trees. Others say she wanders from town to town, warning people about blood Moimoi. the king honor of his attire with a chieftaincy title, the eyes that sees in the darkness. She was later promoted to the capital. Before leaving, she gave the villagers one final warning. Not every sweet thing is good. Not every smiling face is clean. Beware of those who rise too fast. They may be rising on blood. The villagers never forgot. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more inspiring stories. Thanks. Bye.